Okay, welcome everybody to What Would Cynthia Do? I'm a little frazzled because for the first time I'm trying to stream this not only to LinkedIn, but also to Instagram where I'm currently live, but I can't paste a comment. I don't know what's happening, guys, but okay, so Instagram folks, if you want the full on What Would Cynthia Do experience, we were talking about how to answer that. People are like, so tell me about yourself, right? Whether an interview, networking, etc. Go over to what's in you. The second button in my LinkedIn bio, but you can also just listen here. You're not going to get all the slides and all the extra stuff, but you're welcome to join. Tell me where you are in the chat. Okay, regular folks, how are you? Tell me if you're here. We're going to do, because of this week's topic, we're going to do a slightly different intro this time, which is just where are you joining from? So tell me if you're here and where you are joining us from this week. Because I'm going to ask you a little bit about like the stuff that is what we regularly do for our intros. Okay, so I'm very excited about our topic, which is, how to answer that. So tell me about yourself, or like, what do you do type of question. I noticed recently that it was causing a lot of my clients and, myself too, oftentimes like angst. So I'm really excited about that topic. We're going to get into it in a little bit, but first, tell me who's here and tell me where you are joining from. And it is our tradition usually on What Would Cynthia Do to do the whole name, pronouns, what you do if you want to share that, and an ask and an offer. So I'm still going to share an ask and an offer. Hey Sharon, thanks for joining from LA. What up? From the best coast. So I'm still going to share the ask and offer and share it, and anyone else you can too. But my ask is that you can tell folks they can join from whatwouldcynthiado.com. I'm doing this every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. Different topic every time, and the replays are on my website. When we're not live, if you go to whatwouldcynthiado.com, it will eventually redirect to the archive, which you can also find on my website, embracechange.nyc. 2 offers this time. One is tonight I'm doing a panel on leadership and life with 3 other career coaches. You can RSVP through a Facebook link for free. The best way to find that is on my Twitter. It's tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern through General Assembly, San Francisco, both a panel and a networking event on leadership and life. And if you're on IG, you can DM me. Okay, so the second offer that I have for you is that one of our Embrace Change team members, Kenny Dominguez, who I love, she's so awesome, is going to be presenting one of my signature talks, How to Combat Racial Gaslighting, this Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. So same time, but in 3 days, you can register for free via my Instagram link in bio. That's the easiest way to find that one. And I'm really excited. We've been working hard on this talk. Kenny's going to be amazing. And it's a really super enlightening, eye-opening, kind of mind-blowing talk. So if you don't know what racial gaslighting even is, this is the talk for you. Oh, hey. Okay, so we got Natasha from Harlem, New York City, same neighborhood as me pretty much. Viana, hey Viana, I'm so glad you joined. We're going to do a topic by Viana's request next week. That's going to be talking about how to smash your goals by using performance goals. So we got Viana also from the West Coast. I'm glad you like this topic of this week that we're going to get into, which I'll preview here for you all. And hi, Joylene. Very nice to meet you. And thanks for joining from Florida, Miami. Oh, tell me what it's like in the places where you are. It's starting to get nice out, nice and springy in New York City. So it must be like pretty balmy by now in Florida, I'm guessing. But anyways, keep letting me know where you all are from. We're going to do our first segment, which we normally do. You regulars are familiar, which is, drum roll. How are we doing? It's been a heavy many weeks, and I find myself continuing to say this every week, like, oh, it's been a heavy week. So let me know, drop 2 words in the chat or some emojis if you like to let me know how you're doing. Hey, Wiggum, Abby, hi, Aspire to Zero. These are the Instagram folks who are joining us because for the first time ever, I'm trying to stream this direct to you on LinkedIn and also to you on Instagram. So IG folks, I couldn't pin a comment because tech issues, but if you want the full What Would Cynthia Do experience, you can join via the second link in my bio or go to whatwouldcynthiado.com. Hey, from Toronto. Ooh, I wonder if that's Kimberly. I can't see your full name, but I wonder if that is you. Anyway, whoever you are, hi from Toronto. I love that city. So great. Okay, so let me know 2 words in chat how you're doing. And I'll let you know that I was on vacation last week. Yes. So I'm trying to like hang on to that little nugget of like chill that I had from being offline completely last week. Trying to hang on to it desperately. But I gotta say, it's been a wild couple days, a lot to catch up on. If you emailed me and I didn't email you back yet, I will get to you. I promise I haven't forgotten about you. I'm just like in that email catch up first week back from vacay mode. So thanks for your understanding. Also, oh my gosh, I'm always really hyped when I do these on Wednesdays because it's like right after my office hours for my cohort in the crowdfunding campaign program I've been doing. And they've been teaching us so many really cool things. And like, I'm cooking up a lot of really good rewards for all of you in the campaign. So I can't wait to tell you more about that. But it's going to launch in end of May, around then. Hey, Lucic, welcome. Let me know how you're doing, Lucic, how you're feeling today. Lucic is majorly killing it on Clubhouse, you all. So if you don't already follow Lucic on there, you should definitely do that. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the crowdfunding campaign. So I'm going to be raising funds to create and launch a 3-month, so 90-day leadership accelerator for women of color leaders. And I couldn't be more excited. So I'm going to give myself an air horn. It's going to be really rad. The plan is if I can get this thing funded, I will do the first cohort of women of color leaders in Q4 of 2021, and then do like 2 other cohorts in 2022. So as of now, I'm thinking the first cohort will be like people who are already in established leadership roles, looking for that next step up, how to expand and grow and strengthen their leadership, take to the next level. And then the other 2 cohorts are going to be social justice leaders, which can include social impact entrepreneurs, and then also emerging leaders. So really jazzed about it. More to come. And that is basically how I'm doing. A lot more than 2 words, but you know. Yeah, so I'm going to try to get right into the topic. But please feel free to keep dropping in the chat, like where you're joining us from and how you're doing. Today's topic I'm very excited about because it is, how do you answer that question when people are like, so tell me about yourself, or like, so what do you do, right? This is our topic of the day. And I chose it because more and more clients were coming to me and like asking me to help them come up with like a concise, pithy way to do this. Because it's also kind of like a pitch, right? It's like a very, very short elevator pitch. And it's like an entryway into having this conversation about what you do and potentially more, as we'll discover. So I'm going to talk about this for the next couple of minutes, but drop any questions you have for me in the chat. Hey, everybody over here on Instagram, No Stupid Answers, great podcast. You all check out No Stupid Answers. Usually Zarian joins from LinkedIn, so this is really cool. I'm live streaming to both today, Zarian. You would be so proud of me. And thank you, Rachna, for your hyping up the leadership programming accelerator. Oh God, I'm losing my words. The leadership accelerator program that I will be launching and crowdfunding for. So thanks to all of you, and checking on my LinkedIn people. Oh, cool. Lucic dropped the Clubhouse username, so everybody can find Lucic over there. And thanks, Viana, for letting us know that where you're at is figuring out next steps. I mean, when are we not figuring out what next steps, right? So sending lots of love to you for that. I hope that you're like doing it in a self-compassionate way, because it can be tough. And yes, Sharon, celebrating a win. Do you want to tell us what that is? I'm going to play you an air horn. Anyway, that is awesome. Please share what your win is. Okay, so drop anything you got for me in the chat while I talk about this topic, how to answer the question, so what do you do? Or tell me about yourself. All right, I'm sharing some slides, IG folks, so you can either see it in the replay or join me via the second link in my bio. But I'm going to share screen over here for everybody. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna also try to full screen this. Tell me if you can no longer see this, but I hope that, actually, I wonder if it's working. Yeah, sharing, right? Okay. So hopefully it's still sharing. Folks joining on LinkedIn, tell me if you no longer see the sharing screen. It's a slide that says, so tell me about yourself. And I will go back and figure out the proper way to share. Okay, so I'm gonna give you three, that's a little sneak peek. I'm gonna give you three templates of how you can answer this question if you ever struggle with it. And also, oh, damn it, I skipped this whole section in my, all right, well, let me check back in with you all. One second. I was gonna ask, got carried away. Did you all see the share screen? Oh yes, Sharon's win. Just got a contract to teach a webinar. Yes, yes. So many big cheers for you. Yes, Sharon got a contract to teach a webinar. First one. Yes. So excited for you. Okay, good. Thank you, Beyond, for telling me you could see the screen. So we're gonna go back to that in a second, and thank you for bearing with me going back and forth and stuff today. I'm dealing with a lot of tech things, clearly. But I wanted to ask all of you, okay, when you hear this question, that's so what do you do? How many of you actually like getting that question, right? If you enjoy getting that question, so tell me about yourself, or so what do you do? If you like it, tell me, put a yes in the chat or a heart emoji in the chat. You all can participate too in IG. Oh yeah, welcome Rachna. Everybody, Rachna is the founder of Aspire to Zero, a super cool consultancy to get us to zero waste. So any of you environmental people, environmental justice people, definitely connect with Rachna. She's awesome, and I love her. Okay, so if you enjoy getting this, so what do you do question? Tell me in the chat, heart emoji or yes. And if you hate it, if you're always God, why do people have to ask me? This is stressing me out. Maybe you're in between jobs. Maybe you don't like your job. Maybe you don't want to be defined by your job, right? It's a super capitalistic thing to be ooh, your whole identity is your work identity. If you hate it, put a no or a thumbs down emoji in the chat. You all can participate too. Oh, cool. Okay, great. So Russia actually likes it. It's an opportunity to share my story. I love that. That's a great positive spin to put on things. And I don't know, folks, let me know if that resonates with you at all as a reframe. But yeah, I have to say there were times when I was potentially feeling like Viana said, figuring out next steps in my career change and stuff. And in the early days of starting my business where I really dreaded that question, because I didn't know what my story was. You know what I mean? I didn't know how to share it. I didn't know. I felt sheepish about it. I felt very insecure about the labels that I might have been using and all that stuff. So it was, oh yeah, that emoji. Yeah, that's how I felt, Sharon, too, because I was I don't know what to say. They're going to judge me, right? I was anticipating all of this negativity coming back and also me putting on myself. And it's hard to define oneself pithily. You all know, I talk a lot. I have a lot of words. I also write a lot. It takes me a long time to edit things down. I'm not a super punchy, pithy person in my natural state. So that's also a reason why you might dread it. Biana says, I don't have any real feelings about it, but I need to create a better answer. Well, you're in the right place. Yes. Let me check over here. Okay, IG folks are good. Zareen, tell me if you're okay. So good. We got a mixed bag. Some people who are into this question, some people who, a little bit more challenged or not into it. So my goal is to give you some tools. So when you leave today, you at least have a new way to think about how you could frame this question if it's challenging to you. And if you like it, you still have a couple more variations in your back pocket that you can use. Yes, love the networking happening in the chat with Lucic. Okay, so I'm going to share again. Attempt number 2. Okay, here we go. Let's try. All right, so we're talking about this. So tell me about yourself question that we often get, whether it's networking, you meet a new neighbor, a new friend, this is how oftentimes we connect to each other, right? Or you're in an interview, right? Or it's an informational interview. A lot of times people will just ask this because they are genuinely curious to learn more about you. And it's the easiest way to go about it. Okay, I'm gonna give you three templates you can consider. One is what I call the traditional template. And it's this formula, all right? Super formulaic. I am an X and one of my specialties is Y. All right. So I am an X, but one of my specialties is Y. The X, by the way, does not have to be your official role or your title. You could say, like, I am a free spirit and one of my specialties is knitting. You know what I mean? Like you could answer any type of way. But like obviously if you're in a more formal or like interviewing setting, like a networking setting, like it makes sense to like use something that is to your advantage, whatever your strategic purpose is for that conversation, right? So this is the first template. Traditional, I'm an X, one of my specialties is Y. The reason that like you don't want to just end with I'm an X is that it's an invitation to like continue the conversation a bit. So you're like giving them a little bit of something that's like, this is part of my unique value proposition, which is a whole other conversation, but like gives you a little more developing like how you are. It's not just that one first flat dimension, gives a little bit of depth, right? So let me know how that's going. Hey, Priyanka. I am simultaneously streaming both to LinkedIn and Instagram. So if you want to see the slides I'm talking about, hop on over to whatwouldcynthiado.com or the second link in my IG bio. But you can definitely like participate here. I'm saying everything that's on the screen. So let me know how you're doing. Okay, that's number one, traditional template. Number two is a template that I call the redirect. So I am an X, and what I'm super interested in is Z. So this one, as you'll see the note at the bottom, is really good for if you're in between jobs. So you can say something like, I'm a social justice advocate, and what I'm super interested in is using innovative ways to teach DEI to, I don't know, people in tech. That's like such a not creative idea, but that's like an example, right? Like you can define yourself. Again, notice I didn't choose an X that's like your title. I didn't say like, I'm a feminist career strategist, right? This would be like, for me, it might be something more like, I don't know. At this point, I would say I would fully own the feminist career strategist thing. I might say something cheesier, like, you know, I'm someone who like fights for the rights of women of color in the workplace or something. And what I'm super interested in is closing the pay gap, right? That's an example. You're saying like, this is how you define yourself. And then you're also more actively directing the conversation to that Z thing. Like this is even more of an invitation than the first example to have a conversation with you, because it allows people to then be like, oh, like, well, what is that? Like, oh, what is Reiki? Or, you know, oh, so what kind of innovative techniques are you looking into? Or like, oh, what led you to that? You know, it's a way to pique people's interest and to really start a conversation. And again, like obviously, if you are in between jobs or if you don't like your job, you don't have to define yourself by this, and you can make the conversation more about what you want to talk about. So choose a Z that you are actually interested in. Also, footnote, for all these things, these are like formulaic templates, right? You adapt it to your situation, to what feels comfortable and genuine and authentic to you. Put it in your own words. Okay, how are we doing? Oh, hey, Nikki, the Coochie Coach is over here on IG. I'm streaming both to LinkedIn and Instagram. So there's slides over here I'm talking about on LinkedIn, but you all are hearing exactly what I'm saying. So thanks for joining, and let me know how I'm still watching the chat, so let me know how you're doing. Okay, third template for answering this question of like, so what do you do? Or like, tell me about yourself, is what I call the transition or the reframe. So it's a bit longer. I'm an X, and my background is an A. I've been doing B more recently, and what I'm looking to do more of next is C. Okay, so that was a lot more, but you can see how it told a story. Like Rachna was mentioning earlier, like when I get asked this question, it's great because I have an opportunity to share my story. This is where you can weave in a lot more story, a narrative arc to what you're doing, because it's like a timeline, a very super pithy timeline that fleshes out that I am an X, right? And again, X doesn't have to be your official title or role. So my background is in A. Viana, I feel like this could be a really good one for you, actually. Anyone who's transitioning from one thing to another who wants to pivot. I've been doing B more recently. That's a chance for you to show like, oh, I've been studying up on this, or like, this is what I've been doing in my new portfolio or what have you. What I'm looking to do more of next is C. So that's very helpful because you're being super clear to the person you're talking about. Like, C is what I'm actually interested in. So like, let's talk about that. Although if you want, we can also talk about A or B or X, you know? So this is like a more fleshed out version. And I was going through this once with a client recently and she really liked this one. So, yes. Hey, Nikki. Everybody follow Nikki Brown, the Coochie Coach. You can Google her. Her SEO is super strong. She's amazing. Facilitating a workshop and popping in a check. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So good luck on your workshop. We got somebody over here, Sharon, who just got her first contract to do a workshop. So I love it. Everybody's teaching and spreading their genius and knowledge. So yes. Okay. You can also use these, by the way, when you intro yourself in a workshop, like the beginning part, if you want to do it that way, if it's not like a cold open where you just dive right into the material. So panels, also this kind of stuff can work for. All right, last thing I'll show you is a longer version for your interviews. I'm gonna check back in with you and all in the chat. Don't worry, I haven't forgotten you. So obviously in an interview, you can, or something where you're being kind of vetted or, it's more like high stakes and substantive. You can't really just say like the first sentence and necessarily expect them to like come in, right? Like they want a longer answer. So if you're getting that vibe, here's what you do. You mix and match from these 4 things. One is one of those openers I just gave you, those formulaic templates. Use one of those or remix it for yourself. 2 is you can weave in your career or your job mission. Also a whole other topic, but I talk about how we all should have like a life mission, within that is a career mission, within that is a job mission. So you can weave that in. For example, mine is to make sure all women of color get the money, power, and respect that they deserve. That's my job mission for this phase of my career. Previously, I was a public defender. This is very clear. Like my job was to keep my clients out of jail and get them out of jail. Overarching my life, my bigger career mission for like both of those jobs is like, to do racial justice and social justice work, move the needle on that. And then my life mission, do more good than bad. So you see how they're all nested within each other. So that's the second thing you can weave into a longer interview version of your, so what do you do? Or like, tell me about yourself answer. Third thing, characteristics that you have, like personality traits and stuff like that. For example, being mission driven, being people centered or being a people person, being results oriented, stuff like that. And then fourth, not least, skills, right? Any skills you want to highlight. Like I'm really good at this. I have super strong problem solving skills. My analytical skills are off the charts. Listening, high EQ, all of those things are things you can also weave into a longer interview version and mix it in however feels good to you. And like, however, like I said at the bottom here, tie it all together with a narrative arc, right? Make it a story, which I'm so glad Racha couldn't have given me a more perfect gem to start this section off on because she talks about story. So you're going to tie it all together with that. And like, I think this is my last slide. Yeah. So let me stop sharing and check in with you in the chat. We're going to work on some of these like together. Stop screen. Okay. I'm back. Hi. Okay. How are you all doing? Let's see. Lucic. Great. So we're going to work on that in a second. And good. That's helpful to Viana. Hi, Healing Dolly. And Empower Change, Lady Page. Hey, y'all. I'm both streaming to LinkedIn and Instagram. So thanks for joining. You can still hear everything I'm saying. But if you want the full What Would Cynthia Do experience, you can go to the second link in my IG bio or whatwouldcynthiado.com. And I do this every week, Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern. Okay, so let's workshop some of these. I want to hear also, in addition to, hi Elise, in addition to Lucic, like what would you all want to do based on these templates? Like, let's play around here because this is like a no pressure zone, like we're going to workshop it a little bit and help you find something that feels good to you. You're not tied to any of this, okay? You're really not. So you can use any of those options. Like, I'll remind you right now for anybody who's joining too, and then we're going to look at Lucic's first. You could do, I'm an X, and one of my specialties is Y. X may or may not be your official job or role or title. Number 2, I'm an X, and what I'm super interested in is Z. Or the third one, which is a transition reframe. I'm an X, and my background's in A, but more recently I've been doing B, and what I'm really looking into doing is C. right? So you're moving them along. So let me hear hey, Christopher, thanks for letting me know. This is very helpful. So drop in the chat what you all want to experiment with in terms of your templates, and we will talk about Lucix. Okay, so Lucix says, I'm a diversity, equity, and inclusion consultant and activist, love that, helping individuals and businesses grow through inclusive strategies and techniques. I specialize in race, gender, and disability rights. Okay, let's all talk about how we feel about, well, first of all, let me give some applause to Lucix, always going first, breaking the ice for the rest of us. That's a big burden you're taking on, so thank you. And this is great. I would say, and I want to know what everybody else thinks in the chat too. So let me know, and IG folks, let me know what you think of Lucix's answer to, so tell me about yourself. I think this is great this is almost like a mid-length answer. So if you are in more of a conversation, like where you could tell they really want to know a little more depth, like I would say this whole thing. It's also excellent for print, right? Because people are reading and in reality they're scanning. So they're going to scan for these keywords. You've got a lot of good ones in here. I would say if you're saying it to someone in a conversation, I might skip the helping individuals and businesses grow through inclusive strategies and techniques. It sounds a little bit more salesy than conversational. And I want to keep you in the like conversational area because it's just easier to like build relationships and empathy and stuff that way. So I would go like, oh, I'm and if they know what DEI is, I would just say DEI, right? If they don't, then yeah, say the full diversity, equity, inclusion. If you're just talking, I would say I'm a diversity, equity, inclusion consultant and activist. I specialize in race, gender, and disability rights. Boom, right? Like I freaking love that. It's just enough information. It like also is like feels like an invitation for the other person to like respond to that and talk to you more about it. So I really do like that. So I would challenge you, Lucix, experiment with the other two versions. Do either of those appeal to you for other purposes? Do you ever want to try them on for size? But good job. I'm gonna give you an air horn. Okay, let's see. Sharon, I'm a data consultant and one of my specialties is diversity, equity, and inclusion strategies. Yes. Okay. So this, I would suggest to Sharon to spice it up a little bit more even. So, and this is something I didn't share in the templates, but this is a great example. Both data consultant and diversity, equity, inclusion strategies feels a little broad. Like it's almost to the point where someone's like, I don't know how to respond to that because they don't see an entry point and you want to direct them. Like this is like signage for your conversation. Like you want to direct them to a sign and a door that they can actually see, not give them like a very large room to like wander through and they don't know like where's the entrance, like in a big like convention center or something. Don't know if any of these metaphors are helping, but this is how my brain works. So what's a way that you could make this even more specific to what you do? Because I know, Sharon, I know that what you do is very fucking specific and very fucking cool. It has to do with metadata, right? So is there a friendly way that you can describe metadata to people who wouldn't necessarily understand that and still keep it tight? That's what I want to see from you because otherwise this is great. And also folks, keep reacting. Let me know how you think of other people's things. Hey, Elevate. Okay, so Elise, I'm in STEM and looking to work with women recovering from abuse and trafficking. Ooh, I follow McKinney Chisholm Straker, my friend from college, my friend from college, my very dear friend from college, who's also a colleague, nowadays, McKinney Chisholm Straker, MD and PhD. She's got a lot of letters after her name. She's doing a lot of work in the anti-trafficking space, both sex trafficking and labor trafficking. So maybe look her up, Elise. Okay, and tell her I sent you. Okay. I'm in STEM and looking to work with women recovering from abuse and trafficking. I graduated amidst the pandemic with human services and have a ton of volunteer experience working with adolescents and young adults and women in vulnerable situations, but it's been difficult to grab attention. Okay, so I'm not sure if you meant that to be the whole, formula of your answer to the tell me about yourself thing. I would suggest, like the beginning is great. I'm in STEM and looking to work with women recovering from abuse and trafficking. You could actually weave in that mission thing, Elise. You could be, because like maybe the automatic next question that someone might have would be like, oh, so why are you interested in working with women recovering from abuse and trafficking? So I would be interested in like saying like, you know, my background is in working with adolescents and young adults and women in vulnerable situations, right? That's the third template, right? You're kind of doing a variation of that. And what I am looking for is X. Like that's what I would love to see from this kind of pitch or elevator pitch or like answer to the tell me about yourself. And I'm also curious, like, oh, what part of STEM? So maybe you want to keep the STEM broad because you do know that someone is going to ask, oh, what, you know, STEM is super broad, right? Maybe that is an invitation for them to ask you about. So you may do that for strategic reasons, but you could also experiment with being more specific about what part of STEM you're in. And I love this. So let me know if that was confusing or not, if you understood what I was trying to say, but I would kind of like make this a little more concise. To skip right to your past experience. You also don't have to say volunteer. Like just say, and my background is in working with XYZ. Okay. All right. One more, let's try. Rachna, I'm a zero waste consultant and speaker. Yes. One of my specialties is hacking through public school bureaucracy and to teach kids about climate change and helping schools go zero waste. I mean, okay. And actually, let me go back to Elise. Let me give you some applause because you put yourself out there. Excellent. And then Rachna also, whoops, wrong place. You get some claps too. I think this is really great. I mean, I know that you work with, we both have the same public speaking coach, Rhonda Khan. So I wonder if Rhonda had a hand in this or if this is purely your own genius, Rachna, but it's great. You don't have to say. This is brilliant. And like, yeah, exactly. As Lucic said, gorgeous. Okay. So hi everybody on IG. Thanks for joining. We're about at time for today. So just remember these templates. If you want to watch the replay, just go to whatwouldcynthiado.com. Second link in my IG bio. And it'll be up there shortly. Yes, so that was so great. Another round of applause for everybody who volunteered today and like put something out there to workshop because you all are doing amazing. And like, let me know if you have other questions later, you know, I'm a slow processor, so I always think of the best shit later on. And also we're gonna mind meld of you, me and Rhonda. Exactly. That sounds like a winning combo, Rachna. Okay, so the next live will be back next week, the 14th, 2 p.m. Eastern. Put it in your calendar so you remember, you all do. I will try to live stream again directly to IG, but you know, if there's tech issues, no promises. I tried to pin a comment today and I just couldn't do it. Anyway, so next week's topic is Viana's request. Thank you, Viana. It is going to be how to smash your big goals using performance goals. Sneak peek, my latest Instagram post from Monday. Not my latest, I guess, but Monday's post was about performance goals. So maybe diving into that. And I want you to save the date to 2 weeks, 2 Wednesdays from now. I'll be doing our second episode of The Conversation with my colleagues, Ashley Watkins and Lisa Orbay-Austin, who are amazing and phenomenal. We're talking about job search. Okay, so save the date. Wednesday, the 21st of April, 1:45 p.m. Eastern on Lisa's LinkedIn Live. Not sure if I'll be able to live stream that to IG. Probably not. So follow Lisa Orbay-Austin on LinkedIn and you'll get a notification Wednesday, April 21st at 1:45 p.m. Eastern. Okay, thank you all for coming. I'm going to play us out a little bit here. Oh, this isn't working. Hold on. I'll play us out in a second. But thank you all for coming. Thank you, Viana. Thank you, Lucic. Thank you, Rachna. Yes. Thank you, Christopher, Elise. Got a lot of new folks today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Standby, Natasha, Joylene. Who did I miss? Elise, I think I got you. Thank you, everyone who joined. Thank you, everyone who joined over here. D. Garcia, Jen K. Walk, LL Bates Harps, Labage, Nikki the Coochie Coach, Priyanka, Zareen. Love you all. Thank you for joining. Let me see if I can play my music. It's so fun. Yes. Okay. So I'll play this out. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Tell your friends. They can see all these things at whatwouldcynthiado.com. I'll see you next week. Keep connecting with each other. Tell me how you're doing. If you want to keep workshopping your answers to, so what do you do? Or tell me about yourself. PM me. All right. I think that is it. Yes. Let's see who else is here. Oh, great. I'm so glad. Thank you, Elise. Oh yeah, the soundboard, my goofy little soundboard. It's fun, but it also is like another thing that I like distract myself with. But yes, we'll keep doing that because who doesn't love an air horn? All right, I'll see you all next time. Bye. Thanks for coming.